Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you came. I'm Lori Richards, and I'd like to offer to all you sketchers out there, many of whom I hope I know, a series of tutorials online. These tutorials are basically following one of my favorite workshops that I give face-to-face throughout Mexico, but given our new times and our new situation, I thought I'd give online instruction a try, so this is my first time. This will be a series of, I don't know, maybe 8, 10 brief tutorials, all of it dealing with what I call watercolor drama for sketchers. So, what does that mean? Well, first of all, the sketcher's part. A sketcher is simply someone who works in a sketchbook, as far as I'm concerned. Whether the result is a 5-minute rapid scribble or a 2-hour relatively finished piece of work, to me is not important. The importance is that it's done in a sketchbook, and we end up having this pile of sketchbooks in our lives. They are portable. We take them outside. We use minimal materials, do a lot of plein air, a lot of group sketching and art, and all of it is usually documenting what's around us, our life, our travels, our friends. So that's what I mean by being a sketcher. You can use any materials you want, obviously, but this series of tutorials is going to be focusing on how to use the watercolor to make that sketch dramatic. So, what do we mean by watercolor drama? We're going to talk about that from many different angles over the next number of videos and tutorials. It involves understanding the nature of watercolor so that you can be surprised and let it do its own thing. It involves composition. It involves dramatic values. It has many dimensions, but all of it means that the drama in the sketch means it has life, it has emotion, it expresses who you are and what you love. It moves away from sort of a dull, rather quiet, strict representation of what's in front of you to one that gets the viewer and yourself a little bit excited. So, I guess that's the best definition of watercolor drama, and I'm going to show you an example of with and without by way of helping to explain it. Okay, let's look at an example of what I'm talking about when I say watercolor drama. Here is a sketch of a fountain in San Miguel in the Instituto de Arte. And fountains are a favorite subject of mine. In Mexico, they are everywhere. They're happy, they're beautiful, they have life to them. So I tend to sketch them a lot. This one in the Instituto is in the courtyard, and it's a perfectly decent sketch. However, it is not what I would call dramatic. So by comparison, let's look at this one. It's the exact same fountain, and this one has many of the characteristics and techniques that we're going to talk a lot about that makes it, in my opinion, a much more dramatic sketch. So what are we talking about? First of all, this one is more accurate. As you can see, the color of the wall, in fact, is accurate. You wouldn't necessarily know that, but it is. Under arches, it's always darker, and of course they made it darker and I made it darker and got the doors in there, etc. That's as it was. The tree is accurately placed, and the fountain, you see the entire fountain right in the middle of the sketch. All of that is to say that it's an accurate sketch. This one, by contrast, is not nearly so accurate. So that's one of the things, the freedom to diverge from accuracy if it would help you bring out the drama in your sketch. is one of the things we're going to talk about. So in this case, the color is not accurate. Even the detail is not particularly accurate. You can see that there's a portico just like this, but there's not a great deal of detail or emphasis over here to make it exactly correct. And that is because if this were as dark as over here, it tends to make the whole sketch heavier and can detract from the focal point of the sketch, which is the fountain. Another piece of accuracy, the tree is there, but in this case the tree sort of just goes on and it flows into the other parts. This is actually means it's cooperating with what watercolor naturally wants to do. It wants to flow and move. So I find this kind of watercolor more dramatic. You can see it here too, where the colors are allowed to mix. They're not controlled. Also, by letting the tree green go farther, you're able to highlight this dark to light transition. What are some other differences? Here the tree sort of goes off of the frame and the fountain goes off the frame, and the fountain is not in the center. Those are all compositional differences, but they do contribute to a sense of drama. And finally, this one feels happy and light because of the whites in it. That's probably the most critical difference. This one has no whites at all. It does have some lights, which are good, and that's making some drama in this area. And it has some good shadows. But I would suggest that this has more sparkle to it, and it makes you smile more. So that's the emotional aspect of it. So those are a few examples of the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about over these tutorials. I hope that helps explain the nature of the title, Watercolor Drama for Sketchers. Okay. Okay, so I hope that helps introduce this series, and I hope you're enthusiastic and interested in taking the adventure along with me. That's it for our introduction, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye. Have a great day and stay safe.